Hazard pay could become the big smorgasbord of the second stimulus package. But how do you ensure that you actually get the smorgas and not be left only with the board? Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is LALATE. Hope you're good and safe. This is Afternoon's LALATE, our 2-hour program block that starts every day at 3:30 with a check, then goes to hazard pay, then FPUC, and then rent assistance. Big, exciting news about hazard pay, but something that I never really saw until today. So if you're one of those viewers who are so fixated on hazard pay, and boy, you are. I heard you and I see you. We see each other. Then pay attention to this right now, because this is the singularly most important video you're going to watch this week about hazard pay. The detail is the following. I'm going to give you the focus of this video, and then I'm going to give you the backstory. Get right to the point, LA. Here's the point. You need to be insured right now that your boss will apply for hazard pay. You need to know that answer, and now. And I'm going to tell you why. Because ultimately, if your boss doesn't make a decision, is not certain about the situation, or hasn't made a determination where they're going to apply, the funds may be gone. Let me explain what's going on out here. What's going on? It's like that great old song. What's going on? What's going on? The issue of hazard pay is that it's not going to be an endless fund of money. It's not going to be a lot of money out there. And a new report out of Pennsylvania today explains the impact of how hazard pay applications could unfold on a national level, but done on a state level. Let me give you the details. This is released minutes ago. So if you watch this channel over the last 2 weeks, I talked about Pennsylvania opening their $50 million hazard pay program. It's not a federal program, so it's a state level, and it's not a lot of money. It's only $50 million. But it was extremely competitive. It's now closed. What happened? 1,000 businesses applied. So this is very interesting. The entire state of Pennsylvania, only 1,000 businesses applied. So not 10,000, not 100,000, only 1,000. And they were applying for a part of the $50 million of hazard pay allocated by Governor Tom Wolf last month. How many got it and how much money got it? This is what you got to pay attention to. If you haven't had Botox this month, hold your jaw because it's about to drop. More than 600 employers received the money. Only 600 employers received the money. Okay, remember the $50 million? How much of the $50 million was allocated? One business got 6.4 million of the 50 million. You can do the math. That's a big chunk of the money. One business got 6.4 million of the 600 of the 50 million. How did they do that? And why did they do it? And how did it happen? Well, that business was called United Home Care Workers East, and they have 7,000 home care workers. They applied and got for their 7,000 home care workers 6.4 million of the 50 million allocated for the entire state, just for one business. Who runs them? If you watch my channel, this is really going to be like, LA told me this. I heard this from LA first, a labor union. I told you several weeks ago that the big issue for hazard pay is going to be the mobilization to get the applications on file and the issue about labor unions. Now, labor unions are wonderful. I'm not saying anything bad about them. I'm just saying they're very organized because they're labor unions. That's why they're called unionized. They work as a union, unlike, Nancy's staff or, Mitch's golf buddies after a side of chicken fries. They work very organized. What is so important about this data for purposes of you? What's important for this data is that if you think you are, Jessica James, and you worked at a store, and you hope your boss to apply, and you've done the calculation I told you, and it comes out to $6,000, and you're like, I hope I get $6,000. I got to tell you, the chances of you getting the money is very slim because you're up against this. You're up against big unions with lots of union employees coming in very quickly and applying very suddenly. And I'm not saying that small business employees won't get the money. I'm just telling you that you have to have things organized right off the bat. It's a little bit like PPP. It's like this thing just sort of hits and then everyone rushes for it. So what do you need to do and what do you need to do right now? You need to have a conversation with your boss and say, hey, here's this guy with the purple shirts. I mean, he says they're brown, but I think they're purple. But let's just ignore that for now, time being. And he does these videos about hazard pay, and he talks about the HEROES Act, which is currently in the House, in the Senate from the House. And, I follow him, and he's, very attractive, and he's single, and, maybe I'll slide into his DMs. But anyway, to ignore that factor, she goes on to say, Jessica says, hey, I think we need to talk about hazard pay. We need to sit down and have a chat. You and me, we see each other. And we have to have a chat about hazard pay. If this bill becomes law, if Nancy and her flock of sheep pass the law, and Steve Mnuchin or Mark Meadows or Mark Mnuchin agree to it, what are you going to do for me? Boss, what are you going to do for me? Are you going to apply for the hazard pay? The boss says, it's not law. Just check back with me later. Check back with me later, Jessica. Well, I need to know the answer now. If you don't get a firm answer, that's not good. If you don't have a line of communication or certainty that they're going to apply for you, that's not good. Why? If you've not watched my videos, which I hope you have, every single video on hazard pay for 2 months has said, you can't apply. I'm going to say that again. Every day I get 55 comments. Where's the application for me to go get that $10,000? Bubba contacted me yesterday as well. Again, Bubba, my 2001 subscriber. Hey, I'm on the road. I'm driving from Albuquerque to McCurkey, and I think that's called McCurkey, and I want to go get that $10,000. Where can I stop the truck and go get it? No, Bubba, it's not available for you to get. Your employer has to apply for it. Where's the online application? It's not live. It's not a law. What do? They can't do anything yet. But you need to talk to your boss about it and ensure that they apply for hazard pay. And this is why it's so important, because as soon as it goes live, this is going to happen. So in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania, when a $50 million hazard pay program went live just a few days ago, Training Education Fund run by United Home Care Workers East, a labor union, went Zoom like a bunch of hungry vultures at a hometown buffet smorgasbord, and went into that smorgasbord with their 7,000 home care workers who are all unionized across states, and said, hey, I love a smorgasbord. Let's just eat up everything we can eat up. And they went in there and they got 6.4 million of the 50 million for the entire state. I mean, for the entire state, one business. So of that smorgasbord, very little was left of the smorgas, and mostly just a board after that. So who else came in after them? So this is what Bubba and Jessica needs to listen to. Home care agencies, senior care facilities, care providers, and those for living with disabilities were among the other employers receiving the most money, aka very organized businesses. Very organized businesses might be unionized, may not be unionized, but those are the ones that came in very quickly. These were grants, 10 weeks, $3 an hour to essential workers making less than $20 an hour. So making less than $20 an hour, that's a lot of people. If you're working at a grocery store, you're probably making less than $20 an hour. If you're working in a liquor store, you're probably making less than $20 an hour. If you Uber and Lyft, you're making less than $20 an hour. Most people generally make less than $20 an hour. Now, for purpose of hazard pay, there is no qualification that you make a certain amount of money or less. The point is that the employer applies for you. And what I've tried to really impart, and I don't think I'm doing a good job, but that's why I try to repeat myself, is that I've gotten so many comments on a daily basis of, can I go apply for hazard pay? Where is the application for hazard pay? Where can I get the $10,000? You can't apply. The employer applies for you. And what you need to now understand, it's going to be a rush to the front gate to grab this hazard pay if it becomes law. It'll be a rush. And let me describe to you the scenario, the visual. It's not like Nancy chasing her postman. It's actually a worse visual. It's like Woodstock just opened and everyone's rushing for the stage. And on that stage is a lot of money. And guess who's rushing first and the strongest are the labor unions. Labor unions in the home healthcare industry, labor unions in the grocery store chains, which are very powerful, very organized, and they represent thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of employees. Imagine a labor union that can simply mobilize, 500,000 employees across an entire state for grocery stores, going to get the employer to apply for that hazard pay because they've been talking about this for a while, and then employer goes right in the grocery store chain, goes right and gets that hazard pay because the labor union has been, negotiating, which is like this, with the grocery store for 2 months or 3 months. Imagine what's going to happen to that hazard pay fund. It's like Jaws, or it's sort of like Jaws at Baskin Robbins. It's like, I'll just eat everything. So 31 flavors. Okay, I'll just take 30 and then just leave one flavor because it's it looks like Nancy Pelosi ate it. It's just, they will just literally eat up everything that's available. And I don't want to make it disconcerting. I think you're not going to get hazard pay. I don't want to just think that. But I certainly want to give this reality check because I always do this. I always try to inform you, and I just don't want you to sit around and think, but I thought I was going to get my $10,000. Oh, darn. I don't want you to be like that because ultimately I'm trying to empower you. And empowering you is by telling you, one, to talk to your employer right now. Two, talk to your fellow workers. All your fellow workers need to mobilize with this employer to get them to ensure that he or she will apply as soon as it goes live. Four, LWA, which is not this video, but the one after this, is a pure example of what we're dealing with. And I'm going to give that as a reference point, even though I still want you to watch the video. In LWA, it's a diminishing fund. It's FEMA money. It's FEMA money. And so when it was announced, one state rushed in. Remember that Woodstock analogy? One state just rushed in. It was Arizona. Got the money, is guaranteed 3 weeks, $300 a week, is already got some money, has already paid it out. Guess who came around the corner today? Here I am. I'm California. I've been surfing and thinking about this and wondering if I should do it. I'm like, hey, groovy man, maybe I'll go apply for it. Well, FEMA's gonna say, hell, there's 12 states ahead of you now, California. Back there. Well, I've been back there. FEMA's already said that they're going to pay first in time. The first states to apply are going to get the money. So Arizona got the 3 weeks guaranteed to them. Then the ones that are states that were just a few hours after them are going to be guaranteed. But any state after about number 5 or number 6 or number 7, they're in deep doo-doo. They are not guaranteed to get anything. And for California and Texas or whatever states is sort of meandering into the list today, say, hey, we applied. Congratulations, we applied. I'm like, get back there. You may not get anything. FEMA has said there may not be enough money. It may be gone by the time we even get to you in the line. It's like the soup planter. It's like Seinfeld going to the soup guy. No soup for you. It's just, get back in line. And, you can try as much as you want, but it's not going to happen. So for the purpose of hazard pay, that analogy is the same. You need to understand that. I don't want you to be just sort of naive and ridiculous and silly and sit around and say, I'm going to go apply and get that $10,000 for myself. No, can't do that. How do I get my employer to apply? You got to have a conversation. Well, you have to have a conversation. Well, can't I force No, you can't force your employer to apply. The way Nancy and her flock of sheep wrote the bill, you can't force your employer to apply. So you got to use your persuasiveness to get them to apply. You know how to be persuasive. Whether it's showing up with spiky hair that day and some studded bracelets or whatever makes your negotiation skills ramp up, or showing up and gunning your car outside, make a little smoke and talking with a deeper voice. Have you applied for my housing pay? Making it more apparent, because if you don't have that, you're not going to get it. It's as simple as that. And we can talk about housing pay as much as you want, $13 an hour on top of your hours you work from January to the present, up to $10,000 land in your bank account, includes overtime, part-time, full-time hours. If you made $100,000 or less last year as an essential worker, you get a $10,000 lump sum right in your account. If you're not at that threshold, you get $13 an hour going forward. If you made over $100,000 last year, you get $5,000. We can do all that. I can say that until I'm black and blue in the face. But if you don't do the whole rest of this video, you're not going to see anything. You're going to be the person behind the 7,000 people from Pennsylvania who said, hey, no, sorry. But, no, sorry. So coming up after this is PUA. Go to the Finance channel and hit that subscribe button. There's a nice subscribe button. It's really, it's attractive. It's not purple. I've made a request to change it to purple, but it's, it hasn't happened yet. Hit that subscribe button. There's a little alert button. It's a bell. Ring my bell. Ring my bell. Ring my bell, and I will ring your bell. If you slide in my DM, single A's. Ring my bell, and you'll get an alert when a new video goes live. You'll also get an alert when I have something to drop in the community, which I gotta tell you, I love the community, and I love the comments back, but there's always someone like Bubba's like, where's the video? The community is just all text and pictures. There's no videos. So I was like, where's the video? There's no video in the community. So if I say Nancy and Chuck are meeting this afternoon, and I type Nancy and Chuck are meeting this afternoon, breaking news, Bubba's like, where's the video? So coming up next is FPUC and then rent assistance. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, stay focused, and stay in LA for more.